After giving one company the best 12 years of my life, they fired me in a 7-minute Zoom call. No warning. No appreciation. Just one sentence that changed everything. Your role has been automated. 6 months later, the same company that replaced me with artificial intelligence was begging me to save it. And what I did next changed my life forever. I joined the company when I was 23 years old. Fresh out of college. Student loans. Big dreams. No connections. They were a mid-sized tech company. Nothing fancy. But they promised growth, stability, and opportunity. I believed them. For 12 years, that company became my entire life. I arrived before everyone. I left after everyone. I worked weekends. I worked holidays. I missed birthdays, weddings, and family moments I can never get back. When systems crashed at 2 in the morning, they called me. When clients were angry, they sent me. When deadlines were impossible, I stayed late. I wasn't just an employee. I was the backbone of that operation. They trusted me with everything. Their data, their infrastructure, their security, their most valuable clients. I helped them scale from a small office to a company making millions every year. Every raise they gave me felt like proof that loyalty mattered. I thought if I kept showing up, the company would always have my back. I was wrong. The layoff happened on a Monday morning. I received a calendar invite with no title. Just the word meeting. I didn't think much of it. I clicked join. My manager was there. HR was there. And someone I had never seen before from corporate was there. My stomach dropped before anyone even spoke. HR cleared her throat and said, "Due to company restructuring and automation improvements, your position has been eliminated." I laughed at first. I honestly thought it was a joke. Then she said the words that still echo in my head. "Your responsibilities will now be handled by artificial intelligence." That was it. No conversation. No appreciation. No real severance. While I was still on the call, my work access was shut down. My email was disabled. My system credentials were revoked. 12 years disappeared in 7 minutes. I closed my laptop and just sat there in silence. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I felt empty, like someone had unplugged me from the world. The first month after the layoff, I stayed calm. I told myself I was experienced. I was valuable. I would find something quickly. The second month, the panic started. The third month, my savings were nearly gone. Rent was overdue. Credit cards were maxed. Friends stopped checking in. The calls stopped. The invitations stopped. I went from being a respected senior engineer to another desperate applicant fighting automated rejection emails. Every interview went the same way. "You're overqualified, but we're automating this role now too." Over and over again. I felt like a ghost in an industry that no longer needed people. Depression crept in slowly at first. Then it became heavy. I stopped going out. I slept during the day. I stared at the ceiling at night. Everything I had built my identity around was gone. I wasn't just unemployed. I felt erased. One night, while scrolling through the news, I saw my old company being celebrated online. The headline read, "Company X successfully replaces operations team with AI." I watched the demo video. The AI system was doing my job, my workflows, my logic, my troubleshooting process. They hadn't just replaced me. They had copied me. I realized something terrifying. I had trained the very system that destroyed my career. At first, the company looked unstoppable. Everything seemed efficient, fast, automated. Investors were impressed. Stock prices climbed. Executives bragged in interviews about cutting human error out of their operations. They celebrated replacing people with code. But technology has limits. And truth always catches up. 3 months later, the complaints started. Customers couldn't get real support. The AI made too many assumptions. Small errors became big disasters. Data vanished. Response times doubled. Security vulnerabilities appeared. Money started leaking. Then a major client sued them for millions. Then another client left. Then another. The stock began to fall. Inside that AI system were thousands of decisions that required human judgment. And without a human there, Everything slowly unraveled. The system worked fast, but it had no accountability, no instinct, no responsibility. 6 months after I was fired, my phone rang. Unknown number. I ignored it. It rang again. I answered. And I heard the voice that fired me. He sounded tired, broken, nervous. "We made a mistake," he said. "The system is failing. Investors are pulling out. We need you." I said nothing. My silence terrified him. Then he whispered, "Name your price." They offered me triple my old salary. Full remote work. Executive authority. Company equity. Everything they once denied me. But the person they had fired was gone. I was no longer desperate. While they were collapsing, I had been rebuilding. During the months they replaced me with AI, I had started my own consulting work, helping small companies avoid the same mistakes, teaching them how to use automation responsibly. Slowly, my reputation returned. Slowly, my income stabilized. Slowly, I rebuilt my confidence. So when that phone call came, I wasn't hungry anymore. I told him the truth. AI can replace skills, but it can't replace loyalty, intuition, or consequences. Then I declined their offer. 3 months later, the company filed for bankruptcy. After I declined their offer, I didn't feel victory. I didn't feel revenge. What I felt was freedom. For the first time in 12 years, the company no longer owned my mornings, my nights, my stress, or my identity. But even with that freedom, I couldn't shake the strange curiosity growing inside me. I wanted to know how bad things were really getting over there. So I started paying attention. Former coworkers began reaching out quietly, one by one. At first, they were subtle. "Did you hear what's happening? Things are bad. You got out at the right time." Then the messages became more detailed. The AI system was malfunctioning daily. Tickets were piling up. Clients couldn't reach real people. Engineers were spending entire shifts trying to fix problems the AI itself kept creating. Management refused to admit the truth publicly. Instead, they blamed cyberattacks. Then they blamed users. Then they blamed the economy. But inside the company, panic was spreading. One former teammate told me the AI mistakenly deleted 3 years of archived financial data. Another said it misrouted sensitive client information to the wrong organizations. Lawsuits were piling up behind closed doors. Executives were holding emergency meetings almost every night. The same leaders who once bragged about eliminating human error were now watching their system make catastrophic human-level mistakes at machine speed. Meanwhile, my own life began to stabilize. I took short-term contracts. I helped startups clean up their infrastructure. I taught business owners how to blend automation with human oversight instead of replacing people entirely. Slowly, my name started traveling again. Clients came through word of mouth. Small at first, then bigger. For the first time, I was choosing when to work instead of being summoned by corporate emergencies. I slept better. I ate better. My anxiety started fading. My confidence returned. And then the media got involved. One morning, I woke up to my phone buzzing nonstop. Messages, missed calls, notifications, headlines. My old company had suffered a massive system failure. Their AI miscalculated transaction models across several major accounts. Millions of dollars vanished overnight. Trading platforms froze. Clients were locked out of their own funds. Panic spread across multiple markets. Executives went silent. Stock crashed. The news described it as one of the worst automated system failures in recent years. Analysts revealed that the company had removed most of its experienced human oversight months earlier to cut costs. The same decision they once celebrated now became the explanation for their collapse. That day, my former manager called me again. This time, there was no confidence in his voice. No negotiation tone. No corporate language. Just fear. "We're out of options," he said. I didn't answer immediately. I listened. For once, I allowed him to speak without interruption. He told me the truth they had avoided for months. Investors were fleeing. Insurance refused to cover their losses. Regulators were investigating. Clients were suing. The board was preparing to remove leadership. And the AI they trusted had grown too complex for anyone left inside the company to fully control. They needed someone who understood the original system. Someone who knew how all the manual safeguards worked. Someone who knew what the automation was built on. Someone who still remembered the human logic behind the machine logic. They needed me. The silence that followed my pause scared them more than anything. Finally, I said, "You already replaced me." His voice cracked. "We know. And we were wrong." I asked him one question. "If the system had kept working, would you have ever called me?" He didn't answer. That silence told me everything. I didn't return to the company. But what happened next was something I never expected. The board made the situation public. They admitted that excessive automation without human oversight had destroyed the stability of their operations. Executives began resigning. Lawsuits moved forward at full speed. Regulators froze several of their business divisions. The public image they spent years building collapsed in weeks. For the first time, the conversation changed. Companies everywhere started reconsidering their AI strategies. Not because they suddenly cared about workers, but because they saw what happens when machines replace judgment, accountability, and ethics. Suddenly, consulting firms like mine were in demand. Organizations wanted to know how to automate responsibly, how to protect themselves legally, how to keep humans in control of critical decisions. What began as a survival move, for me, became a booming opportunity. I hired 2 former coworkers, then 3 more, then 6. People who were laid off just like me. People who were told they no longer mattered. We built something new together. Slowly, carefully, ethically. While my old company fought lawsuits and bankruptcy hearings, we built contracts. While they fought regulators, we built trust. While they lost reputation, we built credibility. 1 year after the layoff, the news officially broke. The company declared bankruptcy. Assets liquidated. Operations shut down. Executives quietly disappeared from the industry. The same leaders who once bragged about letting AI replace people could no longer find forgiveness in boardrooms or interviews. And something unexpected happened. People started asking for my story. Podcasts reached out. Business schools called. Conferences invited me to speak. Journalists wanted interviews. They didn't call me a victim. They called me a warning, a case study, a lesson. But behind all of that, there was still a personal truth I had to face. For a long time, I blamed AI for everything. For my job loss. For my depression. For my fear. But the truth was harder. AI didn't betray me. People did. People chose profit over loyalty. People chose speed over wisdom. People chose automation without accountability. Technology didn't erase me. Corporate decisions did. And the hardest lesson I learned was this. Loyalty to a company does not guarantee protection. Sacrifice does not guarantee security. And hard work does not guarantee fairness. The system rewards efficiency, not devotion. By the time the bankruptcy papers became public, I felt something I never expected to feel. Closure. Not happiness at their collapse. Not celebration. Just closure. The chapter that controlled my entire adult life had finally ended. But my story wasn't over yet, because the phone was about to ring one more time. And this call would force me to make the most important decision of my life. The final call came on a quiet Sunday evening. No alerts. No panic. Just a calm vibration on my phone. I almost ignored it. But something told me this one mattered. It was a number I didn't recognize. I answered. "This is the board," the voice said. Calm. Professional. Carefully measured. "We'd like to offer you a formal position as lead recovery consultant for the company's remaining assets." I laughed softly. Not out of mockery. Not out of anger. But because the full circle of it felt unreal. They explained their intentions. They weren't trying to save the company anymore. That part was already over. They wanted to salvage what they could. Intellectual property. Systems. Data. Client transitions. They wanted to prevent further damage. And they believed I was the only one who truly understood how to safely dismantle what remained. They offered more money than I had ever made in my life. More than triple what I once earned. Full authority. No oversight. Total control. I thanked them, and I said no. There was a long silence on the line. Then one voice asked quietly, "Why?" And for the first time, I answered with complete honesty. Because you didn't see my value when it mattered. You only see it now because everything is burning. Another voice spoke. Calm again. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. No, I said. This is the consequence of a once-in-a-lifetime mistake. The call ended politely, but the finality in my chest was heavy. That door was closed forever. And surprisingly, I felt nothing but peace. Weeks passed, then months, and something strange happened. While every headline spoke about collapse, lawsuits, and criminal investigations into corporate negligence, my own world was growing. My consulting firm expanded internationally. We trained companies how to scale with automation without destroying human oversight. We helped write ethical deployment rules. We designed fail-safes, human review layers, emergency shutdown protocols. We didn't fight AI. We controlled it. Former coworkers became business partners. People who once competed for job security now shared ownership, vision, and freedom. And for the first time in my career, I stopped measuring my worth by job titles. One morning, I received a message that froze me completely. My former manager had been arrested. Investigators uncovered internal records proving that leadership had rushed AI deployment despite repeated warnings from engineers, including warnings I personally wrote years earlier. Emails, system risk reports, ethical concerns, all ignored in the rush for profits. They didn't just replace people. They knowingly removed safeguards. The charges were severe: negligence, market manipulation, data exposure, financial endangerment. The same system they built to erase accountability became the evidence that destroyed them. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel victory. I felt grief for a chapter that never should have ended the way it did. For a long time, I wondered if I could have stopped it, if I could have warned someone louder, if I could have fought harder. But I realized something important. You cannot save a system that rewards destruction. You can only build a better one. A year later, I stood on a stage in front of thousands of tech professionals, engineers, founders, executives, policymakers. I told them my story without bitterness, without hatred, without revenge. I told them what happens when loyalty becomes invisible. I told them what happens when speed replaces wisdom. I told them what happens when companies forget that every algorithm is built on a human being. The audience was silent. After the event, hundreds of people approached me, some with tears, some with fear, some with hope. Engineers who worried they would be replaced. Founders terrified of making the same mistake. Workers who felt disposable in a world that celebrated automation without compassion. That day, I finally understood my real role. Not as an engineer, not as a former employee, but as a reminder, a warning, a bridge between technology and humanity. Today, I still work with AI every day. I don't fear it. I don't hate it. I respect it. And I control how it's used. I make sure humans stay in the room when the most important decisions are made. Because machines don't carry guilt. Machines don't carry regret. Machines don't carry responsibility. People do. Sometimes, late at night, I still think about that 7-minute Zoom call. The way my email shut down mid-sentence. The way 12 years ended without ceremony. The way my loyalty was answered with a script. But I no longer feel pain when I think about it. I feel gratitude. Because being replaced by AI didn't destroy me. It released me. It forced me to rebuild my life from truth instead of attachment. It stripped away illusions and replaced them with purpose. And in the end, the company that once believed it could erase people with code was erased by its own choices. If you're listening to this and you're afraid of being replaced, remember this. You are not your job title. You are not your company badge. You are not your productivity metrics. You are your judgment, your instinct, your creativity, your ethics. And no machine can replace that unless people choose to let it. The future doesn't belong to AI alone. It belongs to those who refuse to disappear quietly. AI didn't destroy my life. Blind trust in corporations did. Technology isn't the enemy. Replacing humans without ethics is. And the system only collapses when it forgets the people who built it.